They never wanted us to find this. Beneath the holiest ground on earth, an ancient secret has been locked away for millennia. What if everything you thought you knew about the Temple Mount is wrong? What if a gate sealed in stone and silenced since the days of King Solomon hides a terrifying truth? A gate that was never meant to be opened, the so-called Gate of Azazel. In obscure ancient texts and forbidden scrolls, we find whispers of a primordial rebellion, of angels who fell from grace and were imprisoned beneath the earth. The Book of Enoch, a text excluded from the Bible and long suppressed, describes the fate of one fearsome angel, Azazel. Bind Azazel hand and foot, the text reads, cast him into darkness and cover him with jagged rocks. According to this millennia-old account, Azazel and his rebel brethren were entombed in the desert dungeon to wait for Judgment Day. The Bible itself hints at this mystery. In the New Testament, we're told of angels who were kept in chains under gloomy darkness until the day of judgment. That's in the book of Jude. Who are these chained beings, you might ask? And why did early Jewish and Christian writers speak of imprisoned angels? Could one of those prisons be hidden right under modern-day Jerusalem? When the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in 1947, scholars were stunned to find fragments of the Book of Enoch and other ancient writings, such as the Book of Giants, that echoed this tale of the Watchers, angels punished beneath the depths of the earth. For centuries, texts like this have been considered heretical. They were locked away in secret archives and nobody was allowed to see them. Scholars even doubted their existence and their authenticity. And that makes you wonder, what truths were too dangerous for us to know? What did the ancients try and warn us about? And what is under the ground that we walk on? You see, all the early church fathers, all of them believed in this narrative. They believed in fallen angels. They believed in the Book of Enoch. But something happened where the Catholic Church removed it. And they said it was too dangerous for people to read. They wanted to separate themselves from the supernatural reality of the world that we live in. But why? Jerusalem, the Temple Mount, revered by millions and perhaps the site of a cosmic prison. According to legend, King Solomon himself knew of these dark forces. With God's blessing, Solomon built the first temple, not only a place for worship, but as a sanctuary against evil. Some tales even say that Solomon commanded demons to help him construct the temple's foundation. And that's not all. In the apocryphal Testament of Solomon, the wise king boasts, quote, "And I sealed the demon and set him to work at stone cutting, so that he might cut the stones for the temple," end quote. I sealed the demon, he said. Think about that. Solomon, wielding a God-given ring, bound supernatural beings and forced them into labor, and perhaps into confinement. Could it be that Solomon built a great chamber beneath the temple, a gate, or even a vault to lock away the worst of these entities, a gate that was so perilous it had to be sealed forever? Some researchers actually speculate that this may be the case, that the very site of the temple was chosen over a deep, pre-existing abyss, maybe a portal to Tartarus, the same abyss mentioned in Enoch where Azazel was cast down. And if that's not enough for you, it's as if the Temple Mount itself was a capstone over hell. Even the rituals of Israel hint at something lurking beyond the gate. In ancient times, each year on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, the high priest would symbolically cast sins of the people onto a scapegoat and led this goat for Azazel out of the temple through the eastern gate into the wilderness to die. Imagine that, a goat literally sent to Azazel, the eastern point, the one directly facing the Mount of Olives, was the gateway from the holy precinct to the desolation beyond. It led out to the desert, to the realm where Azazel was believed to be banished. They drove the sins and perhaps the influence of Azazel out of Jerusalem's sanctum through that very door. What are the odds of that? Now, Was this just ritual symbolism like some scholars believe, or did the priests really understand that something real lay bound beneath their feet and it was hungry for release? That's the question we're asking today, folks. Here's the thing. There is a gate on the Temple Mount's eastern wall. It's been bricked up and it's foreboding if you look at it. It's called the Golden Gate. In Hebrew, it's called Sheraham HaSharim, the Gate of Mercy. In Arabic, it's called Bab al-Dimbadi. In Arabic, it's called Bab al-Dabadi. And through this gate, ancient tradition says that divine presence once entered the temple. And through this gate, the Messiah will one day return. And by Messiah, we mean the Antichrist himself. This is the gate he will walk through on the rebuilt third temple. You know, perhaps it's no coincidence that this gate is sealed thick in stone. Just look at the picture. In fact, it has been closed for nearly 5 centuries. History tells us that in 1541, I believe it is, Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, he sealed the Golden Gate completely. Why? Nobody knows. He even built a cemetery in front of it as if to guard it with a barrier of the dead. Interesting. Officially, he was preventing the rabble from entering the city and stopping Jewish messianic prophecy. He didn't want the Antichrist to come, so he sealed the gate. But maybe there could have been another reason, an unspoken fear of what lies beneath that gate, of who might try to come through it from the other side, or should I say from underground. Every conqueror of Jerusalem has sensed something unusual about this place. The Crusaders, the Ottomans, the British all conducted secret digs and surveys on the Temple Mount. Whispers from the Crusader era hint that the Knights Templar, while tunneling under the Temple Mount, found more than just buried treasure. Some say they uncovered cryptic scrolls and even a black archway deep underground. According to legend, the Templars sealed up the archway and ran back in terror, its secret carried back to the Vatican to be hidden from the world forever. And it remains locked up in the Vatican vault to this day. Now, is this just a myth? Who knows? Perhaps. Maybe it is, but also maybe it isn't, because when you connect it to all the other things, it starts to paint a bigger picture. The evidence of something hidden is undeniable. You see, in 1909, a British adventurer named Montague Parker led a clandestine expedition under the Temple Mount. He was hunting for the Ark of the Covenant, along with other mysteries. He went there under the cover of darkness. He went there in the middle of the night. His team snuck into ancient passageways because they were closed off, but they snuck in. They searched for Solomon's secrets with a pickaxe and a lantern, because that's all they had back then, right? Then one night, something mysterious happened. The men reportedly heard a rumbling from the bowels of the earth. While they were in the tunnel, all the stones started to shift, the ground quaked, they panicked, and the diggers, they had dropped their tools, their lanterns, and they fled, they ran away. And the next morning, Jerusalem awoke to rumors that the Brits had angered something below the Holy Mountain. The Ottoman authorities hushed it up, and Parker's crew quietly slipped out of the country, never to return to Jerusalem. They left in such a quick fashion that they abandoned all their equipment inside the tunnels. They just left it there. And that begs the question, what did they disturb in those dark tunnels under the mount? The world has never been told. Mysterious underground rumblings alarm Jerusalem. English expedition vanishes overnight. Was it an earthquake or a curse? But that wasn't the last incident. Far from it. As the decades passed, the nations battled over Jerusalem, and the Gate of Azazel remained hidden. It remained sealed, but not forgotten, because in 1967, Israel takes control of the Old City. And almost immediately, archaeologists and rabbis begin probing the underground secrets. They map age-old tunnels, chambers that have been buried for centuries, and in one such tunnel, along the western wall, a door that has been shut for centuries was rediscovered. It's called the Warren's Gate, an ancient entrance to the Temple Mount's interior. Late one night in 1981, Rabbi Yehuda Meir Getz secretly opened the passage, attempting to reach the sacred chambers beyond. He and his team step into a hollow space. They feel a rush of dread, and some later whispered that they had come within meters of the lost Holy of Holies, or perhaps even something older. Now, before they could delve any further, authorities intervened, fearing a conflict and perhaps something more. The government ordered the tunnel cemented up once again. The Warden's Gate was literally encased in steel and plaster, and just like the Eastern Gate, it remains sealed off to this day. A quiet rumor started to spread, however, that the diggers had been so close to uncovering a secret chamber that's why they intervened. But what secret chamber, you might ask? No one would say. And the records were hushed and they were closed up and people have no idea. The area remains off limits to this day, and it's just another door closed, another sealed door that we may never know what happened. So here we are speculating. But here's the thing, because that didn't end the mystery, it actually deepened it. But perhaps the most tangible proof of a hidden gate came by pure accident. In 1969, a young archaeologist named Dr. James Fleming was exploring around the Golden Gate after a heavy rain. The ground was slick, and suddenly the earth gave way beneath his feet. Fleming fell into a pit. It was an open tomb filled with human bones. As he struggled amid the skulls and all the debris, he found himself staring at something astounding. It was the top of an arch, another gate, buried about 8 feet below the ground. It was directly beneath the sealed Golden Gate, and Dr. Fleming realized he discovered the remains of a much older portal, long hidden from sight. Could this be part of Solomon's original Eastern Gate? Locals rushed to help him out, but the very next day, something eerie happened. You see, the Islamic authorities who administer the Temple Mount quickly poured concrete into the hole, sealing it off forever. Not only that, they covered the pit with another slab. Fleming had taken photographs of the ancient arch. However, once again, access was forbidden, it was sealed off again, and it just makes you wonder, what are they hiding in there? Do the authorities know something that we don't? Consider that a significant archaeological find like that would be immediately buried and suppressed. But why? What are they afraid of down there? Time and time again, we see the same pattern. Somebody discovers something under the Temple Mount, it doesn't fit the official narrative, and it gets sealed up. It gets closed off forever, covered up, and hidden from the public. But why? A gate uncovered? Bury it. A tunnel open? Block it. As if somebody or something is guarding these secrets, whether it's the religious authorities, governments, or a force that may be beyond our understanding. To this very day, extensive archaeological excavations are not allowed under the mount. This area is still a powder keg for political and spiritual tension. But could it be that beneath all of that, there is a literal powder keg of something supernatural? Perhaps those in power think that they are preventing unrest between the people, when in fact they're also keeping ancient evils at bay. There are whispers of classified studies, geophysical scans done in secret detecting anomalous cavities under the rock, whispers of guarded vaults and motion sensors placed in hidden corridors. Some even claim that the Vatican and other world powers maintain a keen interest in Jerusalem's subterranean world, not just for history, but for what might be imprisoned there. And then there are the other signs, the unexplained events that make you question reality. Do you guys remember in 2011, tourists and locals recorded something unbelievable in the night sky above the Temple Mount? It was a glowing orb, a light that descended directly over the dome of the rock. And this is real footage I'm playing here, guys.
There's a new video this morning that some say may be proof we're not alone in the universe. A UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the dome of the rock in Jerusalem. The video is said to be taken over the weekend. Then suddenly the light shoots up into the sky. There you see it. Another video from a different angle appears to show the light doing the same thing. Those clips have gone viral now.
This orb hovers silently and then shoots upward with blinding speed. Multiple cameras from different angles captured this apparition. Media outlets at the time scrambled for explanations. Was it a UFO? Was it a hoax? Or maybe it was an ancient watcher? Those who know the prophecies and those who know the history of the area wondered, could it be an ancient angelic being? Maybe a fallen angel that had momentarily revealed itself right above the Temple Mount. Could it be a coincidence or a warning? The Gate of Azazel, sealed by Solomon, sealed by the sultans, sealed by silence. They say it was closed to keep the Messiah out, or the Antichrist, until the appointed time. But maybe just maybe, it was also built to keep Azazel in, to hold back the tide of darkness until the end of days. What happens when the gate is opened? Now imagine for a moment the stones were rolled away and an ancient threshold was exposed. Would we find an empty void? Or would we be face to face with unspeakable evil? The gate of Azazel remains sealed beneath Jerusalem, waiting for that final hour. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video, and hit that like button if you haven't done it already. And until next time, God bless you all.